Doesn't matter how good of a player you are, their very careers may be on the line.
Russell Wilson, of the first 8 years of his career, has not shown up for 3 years.
Let's dive into 10 NFL stars who will find themselves out of the league for good if they don't bounce back in 2024. Russell Wilson. Hard as it is to believe now, but the 9-time Pro Bowler may be just one bad or ineffective season away from needing to hand out resumes for a new career. After a very disappointing 2-year stint with the Denver Broncos, Wilson was released. Denver was so desperate to get rid of Wilson that they happily took on an NFL record $85 million dead money charge over the next 2 years. Wilson was subsequently picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers, who signed him to a cheap 1-year deal. It's a low-risk move for the Steelers with potentially very high rewards, but it's also all or nothing mode for Wilson now. Think about it. The Seattle Seahawks were thrilled to get rid of the greatest QB in franchise history. The Broncos wanted to move on despite a stellar bounce-back 2023 campaign under Sean Payton. And don't tell us Wilson is in a bad situation here. He is playing for a Hall of Fame head coach in Mike Tomlin with George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris, and Jalen Warren as his weapons. And having a top 10 defense makes life all the more easy for Dangerous. But hey, no pressure, Russ. No pressure. Jamal Adams. The Jamal Adams trade will go down as a rare big-time miss by Seattle Seahawks GM John Schneider and former head coach Pete Carroll, to say the very least. Adams is no longer the Seahawks problem. The man is gonna have to somehow regain something close to his old New York Jets form if he's gonna continue playing past the 2024 season. 3-time Pro Bowler and 2019 First-Team All-Pro, was a beast in his first season with the Seahawks, tallying 9.5 sacks that marked a single-season record for a defensive back. Adams' efforts helped Seattle win the NFC West Division crown too, but the injury bug and a significant drop in production quickly derailed Adams' career in the Pacific Northwest. Over his final 3 years in Seattle, Adams appeared in only 22 games and didn't even record a single sack. That led to Seattle releasing Adams in a cap-saving move, officially putting an end to this lopsided trade in favor of the Jets. If 2024 isn't the year that Adams stays healthy and proves he's still a valuable starter in this league, then he's going to be out of the pros by next year. Otherwise, come 2025, nobody's going to want a guy whose last good season was 5 years ago. Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill has been on the decline for 3 years now. The Tennessee Titans rightfully gave Will Levis the nod as a rookie in favor of a continuously underperforming Tannehill, who is also on his last NFL legs. It's easy to say now that Tannehill will never be a starter again. It's unlikely, yes, but there was a time when we all thought that Kurt Warner was washed up before his career revival in Arizona, and hey, don't forget about Geno Smith's 2022 comeback year in Seattle, nor what Joe Flacco just accomplished in Cleveland this past season. Tannehill's experience make him a quality QB2 option for absolutely anybody. But he's also gonna have to make some form of an impression if he wants to continue his career in 2025, when he's gonna be 37 years of age. Not saying the former Titan has to revive his career the way he did in Tennessee back in 2019, but Tannehill, like Flacco, needs to somehow show that he can still produce in the right system, even in preseason and garbage time. Otherwise, the 2019 Comeback Player of the Year will also be out of the league by next year. Zach Ertz. We don't blame you if you've lost track of Zach Ertz's journey over the last 3 years, but here's the quick recap. Traded from the Philadelphia Eagles to the Arizona Cardinals during the 2021 season. Does well there to land a 3-year extension. Gets released late in 2023 following a second straight season derailed by injuries and a lack of production. Joins the Detroit Lions practice squad during the postseason, doesn't play a single snap. Signs a 1-year deal with the Washington Commanders in free agency. So, with Logan Thomas getting released, Ertz is the new #1 tight end in DC now. And he'll soon have the pleasure of catching passes from either LSU's Jaden Daniels or North Carolina's Drake May. Ertz has missed at least 5 games in 3 of the last 4 years, suiting up for just 17 total contests since 2022. The ex-Eagle star and Super Bowl 52 hero is well past his playing prime and has one last chance to show that he can still play in the NFL. Harrison Smith. Smith has had a phenomenal career with the Minnesota Vikings that has lasted more than a decade now. His longevity is admirable in an era where many defensive backs are essentially finished by their early 30s. Smith wasn't terrible by any means in his age 34 season for Minnesota in 2023. I mean, he started all 17 games and compiled 3 pass defenses, as many forced fumbles and sacks, and had 93 combined tackles. But Smith is also past his best before date. He finished with a 2023 Pro Football Focus grade of just 68.9, his worst mark there since 2000. 2013. On top of that, Smith yielded a 65.4 completion percentage when targeting, according to Pro Football Reference. Smith can still do a lot of things right, but it's pretty clear that he won't be viewed as a full-time starter at this phase of his career. Not in a game built around dynamic passing games with lightning-quick pass catchers. If Smith wants to make it to his age 36 NFL season in 2025, he'll have to somehow turn back the clock and show that there is still some juice in those legs. Otherwise, it is game over for Smith next year. Dalvin Cook. In a move that wound up benefiting absolutely nobody, the Vikings released a 4-time Pro Bowl running back last offseason. Cook then joined forces with Aaron Rodgers, signing a 1-year deal with the New York Jets. Cook saw very little playing time behind RB1 Breece Hall, and Rodgers' season-ending injury minutes into his Jets debut did not help matters. Still, you would think that Cook would have done better than 214 rushing yards, no TDs, and a woeful 3.2 yards per carry. The Jets let go of Cook late in the year, and he finished the season on the Baltimore Ravens roster. The 4-time 1,000-yard rusher got 8 carries in the Ravens' divisional round win over the Houston Texans. As far as the rest of the league is concerned, Cook is on the long list of RBs who hit the before 30 wall. It's awfully easy for teams to find good running backs in this day and age. So, who would want to sign a 30-year-old Cook in 2025 if he doesn't show that he has a little bit of gas left in the tank? It is time for Calvin to get cooking again. David Bakhtiari. The Green Bay Packers really had no choice but to cut Bakhtiari, whose tragic injury history quickly came to derail a potential spot in Canton. Green Bay cut Bakhtiari ahead of 2024 free agency, giving GM Brian Gutekunst the cap space to address other needs. Hello, Josh Jacobs, and the incentive to take an offensive tackle in the draft. The 3-time Pro Bowler and 2-time first-team All-Pro will be 33 years of age by next season, and injuries have limited him to just 25 total game appearances over the last 4 years. Bakhtiari gets 1 more year to show that he can stay healthy and avoid the injury bug. Otherwise, there is practically a less than 1% chance that anyone will want to sign him in 2025, even as a second stringer. Michael Thomas. It's honestly very surprising that the New Orleans Saints gave Michael Thomas this many chances to stay healthy. Look, it just didn't work out, so now it's back to the drawing board. Like Bakhtiari, Thomas was on a Hall of Fame trajectory early in his career. Then the injury bug struck Thomas, who missed the entire 2021 season with an ankle injury. He also played a combined 20 games over the 2020, 2022, and 2023 seasons. Thomas's All-Pro form is well in the past now, as hard as it is for can't guard Mike and Saints fans to accept. He's going to get another chance to, you guessed it, stay healthy in 2024 and show that he can still be a serviceable offensive piece. Somehow, in some way, Thomas's body is going to have to hold up. His NFL career fully depends on it now. Patrick Peterson. The perennial Pro Bowler had a mini-career revival with the Minnesota Vikings in 2022, garnering a superb PFF grade of 80.7 while tallying 5 interceptions and 15 pass defenses, both personal bests in 10 years. Peterson's bounce-back year led to him signing a 2-year pact with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2023 free agency. Unfortunately, Peterson showed last season that 2022 was a mirage and not exactly a preview of a late career renaissance. PFF graded Peterson at just 60.5 in 2023, and per Pro Football Reference, Peterson allowed a 91.5 passer rating when targeted. Pittsburgh wound up releasing Peterson heading into the final year of his contract, putting the future Hall of Famer back on the market. As we said earlier on the Harrison Smith entry, defensive backs rarely hold up well in their mid-30s. Peterson still might produce in a rotational phase at this point of his career, but anything close to what we saw with the Steelers in 2023 will lead to him being out of the league before his 35th birthday. Ezekiel Elliott. Following his mostly successful 7-year stint with the Dallas Cowboys, the 2-time rushing champion was cut last year. Elliott then signed a 1-year deal with the New England Patriots where he provided meh results at best. Playing on the AFC's worst team did Zeke absolutely no favors, but it's clear that Elliott is nothing more than a solid number 2 RB at this phase of his career. Elliott had 642 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 313 receiving yards in New England. Doesn't look too bad on paper until you note that he averaged a career-low 3.5 yards per carry while also fumbling twice. Nobody's asking Zeke to be a 1,000-yard rusher anymore, but even a backup running back has to have some juice left. Whereas Derrick Henry can still get by with his bulldozer of a human build, Elliott has always relied on his speed. And this man is not to be mistaken for, say, Devon Achane anymore. The former 2016 first-round pick will get another chance to show that he's a solid enough understudy at RB. But if he ends up instead showing the world that he's completely washed up, that is going to be it for the former Cowboys star in the NFL. But which other NFL stars will be out of the NFL if they don't have a stellar 2024 season? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.